Remember the Dunu Titan S, the Arya killer that actually deserved the name of being an Arya killer? Well, Dunu has released an update to the Titan S with the Titan S2, a $79 response to, I guess, the Arya 2? Well, let's find out what they changed with the Titan S2, what they improved, and answer the question, how do you even make a sequel to a beloved set like the Titan S? Let's find out today in my review of the Dunu Titan S2. First and foremost, big thanks to Dunu for sending over the Titan S2 in exchange for my honest thoughts. All of my thoughts and opinions are of my own, and I was not paid or compensated to say anything about the product. So if you've been watching my reviews recently, you may have noticed that, well, I've been reviewing quite a lot of Dunu IEMs, so, like the Falcon Ultra Titanium Edition or the Da Vinci. I'm really not a shill for them. It's just that, I get the opportunity to review them, and it so happens that they both deserve video reviews because they're pretty exceptional sets. And just like those two, the Titan S2 is also, I think, a pretty exceptional set in my opinion. And it goes to show that Dunu's craftsmanship is just truly one of a kind. And there's a reason why they've been in the markets for about 20 years already, 22 years, I think. But let's see what the Titan S2 brings to the table, starting with the unboxing experience. If you're familiar with Dunu's unboxing for their most expensive sets, you know that they're very generous with their inclusions. But they've completely shifted expectations and created arguably one of the best value packages in the market. Inside the vibrant red box lies the IEMs themselves attached to the cable, a plethora of ear tips, a really nice carrying case, and some paperwork. This is by far the best value set of inclusions in an IEM package that I have ever seen. The tips alone are worth $30, and pair that with the cable and you're essentially paying almost $60 for an $80 worth IEM, which means the IEM would probably just cost around $40 to $50. If that's not value, then I don't know what it is anymore. And they keep going with it in the build and fit department. Featuring a single 10mm dynamic driver, the Titan S2 features a rather bold and edgy cyberpunk style design that is sure to be a head turner with its shiny and glossy finish and distinct red motifs. It's very clean, with small engraving of Dunu being the only typography in the entirety of the set. It looks good, but unfortunately it doesn't fit as well. The fit reminds me of SimGot sets, which are comfy and small, but aren't the most stable and doesn't seal as well. It's not unbearably difficult or uncomfortable to wear, but it's definitely not the most ideal fitting in the ear. Finally, let's talk about that stock cable, and out of all the sleeve cables that I've tried, this is arguably one of, if not the best that I've tried. Most sleeve cables suffer from either being too heavy or memory prone, but none of that is here in the Titan S2 stock cable. The Titan S2 combined a sleeve lower section from the jack to the Y split and ends with a 2-braid strand to a 2-pin connector. It balances durability, comfort, and weight in such a way that I'd probably buy my other IEMs this kind of cable. The cable also uses a modular jack design, which is arguably one of the best in the market today. I first experienced this kind of cable with the Dunu Da Vinci, and I am so glad to see it in their budget sets like here in the Titan S2, and I hope they implement it in more of their stock cables, as it's genuinely one of the best modular systems in the market today. So talking about the sound signature of the Titan S2 is U-shaped, similar to the Arya, which is extremely ironic. It's probably in response to people complaining that the Titan S lacked the low-end emphasis and tactility and a little bit too much top end, especially in the upper mid-range. But it's, I guess they listened to people and they wanted to do something that some people are more inclined to like more than just the audiophiles. And in a way, they did exactly that. The low end is now much more punchier, much more tactile, much more engaging to listen to. The mid-range, they keep it clean, they keep it warm, they keep it thick, as they did with the older set or the Arya's style IEMs, but in a much cleaner way here. And the treble, complementary, very clean, very crisp, but not overstepping its boundaries and decently extended. So in a way, they kind of did improve upon the criticisms that people might have had with the original Titan S for being a little too lean, but Let's talk more about it, but first let's talk about the drivability. And it's easy to drive, scales decently, not necessarily something that I would personally invest in a bigger or more powerful or just better source in general. But it does come with a modular cable, so make the most out of that, will you? And if you're going to be using it with something like, I don't know, the DTC 480, then it would be honestly a pretty decent pairing. Not my ideal pairing, but you're definitely going to be improving on the low-end tactility and punchiness of the Titan S2. But, it's up to you what you want to do with the Titan S2. Just saying that it's fine on 3.5mm. It improves a little bit on 4.4 balance with better and cleaner power. And as for volume, I would say that the Titan S2 is a very comfortable mid-volume listening set. I wouldn't really find myself cranking up the volume too high here or going down too low. This is just a comfortable mid-listening set. Nothing too loud, enough to bring out the dynamics and details without really going too much. But again, your listening experiences, this is my own. I prefer mid-volume listening for the Titan S2. So moving on to the bass, it's definitely punchy, it's definitely thick, and it's definitely boosted compared to the OG, which I should probably save my comparisons later, but this is definitely very thick and lush bass experience, and I would argue that it is a complementary and very versatile type of bass. It's not really the most well extended. I would say that the sub bass is a little bit lacking for me, but there's enough punch, there's enough weight, there's enough thickness for most tracks to sound very engaging and rich. I will say that sometimes it gets a little bit too much in the mid bass, especially in more complex tracks, but again, it's mostly on that. Most tracks it sounds completely fine and just honestly perfectly acceptable, and the warmth does do wonders for the mid-range, but it also comes at a detriment. So now talking about the mid-range, it's very clean and natural. I really like the mid-range of the Titan S2. It's not the most well-defined, it's not the cleanest, it's not the most open, but it does sound really good on most tracks. I never found myself to be feeling like I'm lacking in the vocal department here, except for the more complex tracks, but at the same time, more complex track means more less vocal-oriented stuff, so I'm completely fine with that trade-off. But in the case of the Titan S2, the mid-range timbre is just phenomenal. Very good note weight, very decent, I would say, definition as well in the low end, even though that it is a little bit on the thick side, and the upper mid-range is expectedly very energetic without getting harsh or shouty whatsoever. And I really like that because, as much as I do like me a little bit of shout, I also like a little bit of tonal balance, especially when it comes to listening to vocal-centric tracks like Lave ASMR Joy, as you probably know me. And in this case, it balances it in a really nice way that it doesn't sound too forward, I would say. It does sound a little too thick for Lave ASMR Joy, but, it's not really a set for that. It's more a set for brighter, leaner vocals or just instruments in general. And that's where the Titan S2 excels at, in my opinion. But if you could choose to emphasize the low end a little bit more, and the Titan S2 would be a wonderful set for that. Now moving on to the treble, it plays a more complementary role this time around. It's not as energetic, it's not as, sparkly, it's not even as, it's not as magical listening to, but it is definitely still very much detailed. It's actually more consistent compared to the original Titan S, and somehow it's also a little bit more better extended, but again, it's probably just due to the increased brightness, but it is definitely a more energetic listening experience, at least consistently more energetic compared to the original Titan S. But it's definitely not the highlight this time around. It's more complementary, and it's more it's definitely not something that I would be focusing on as a treble head, but it's definitely something that I appreciate is energetic enough to not make me feel like I'm being choked out of air. Now moving on to the technicalities, it's just about average all in all. I really can't say much about the technicalities besides it being basically average and altogether. It's for $79, good, decent separation and layering, decent imaging and staging, decent dynamics and resolution. Nothing really too special. It's like if I were to pick one specific IEM that I would define for $79 worth of technicalities, like an average mean, the Titan S2 would probably be that set. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but some people definitely prefer something more technical, and this is not a set for you techies out there. Compared to the original Titan S, the Titan S2 features a more balanced, warmer, and more lush but less detailed and less technical sound. I'd argue that it's more of a side grade than an upgrade in terms of sound due to the differences in tuning, but the main selling point is definitely the upgrades and accessories. The more lush tuning also makes it more versatile, and the tamer upper mids also makes it more listenable to shout-sensitive people compared to the original Titan S. However, the Titan S2 mellowed down to the Titan S competition by going down the same route that they did, and it does sadden me a little bit, but at least we got a lot of ear tips. Compared to the SimGot EA500LM, the LM has a more technical, cleaner, and brighter tone, while the Titan S2 has a more lush, natural, and rich tone. While both sets do have an energetic upper mid-range to treble region, the Titan S2 balances the brightness with thickness that came at the cost of clarity and cleanliness that the EA500LM has. If you're looking for something more technical and detailed, go for the EA500LM, but if you want something more lush and natural, go for the Titan S2. Compared to the Keyfine Delchi, the Delchi has a bassier, thicker, and more impactful and punchier set overall compared to the Titan S2, but the Titan S2 is the more refined, smoother, and more detailed set. Both sets have great timbre, but the timbre of the S2 just is a little bit more consistent than the Delchi's. The Titan S2 has a slight technical edge over the Delchi, but the Delchi has better dynamics overall. Compared to the Lecture D13, the D13 has a much better bass presentation overall with better ductility, punchiness, impact, and depth, but the tuning of the Titan S2 is better overall. The Titan S2 is also the more extended and more energetic set in the treble region and has better mid-range timbre than the D13. The Titan S2 is also the more technically capable set than the D13 with a cleaner separation, more immersive head stage, and more pinpoint imaging. Compared to the Orivetti Dynabird, the Dynabird is the more energetic, better sub-extended, and more vibrant set, but the Titan S2 has the more accurate timbre and less offensive tonality overall. The Dynabird has a more energetic upper mid-range presentation that might come across a little shouty for some, to which the Titan S2 would be the more ideal set. However, the Dynabird is the more detailed and technical set between the two, while the Titan S2 is the better tuned IEM to my ears. Compared to the SimGot EW200, the EW200 has a cleaner separation, better dynamics, and wider staging, while the Titan S2 has a smoother, more natural, and richer overall sound. The EW200 has a tighter sound overall, with the nuances from the bass to treble being a lot better defined, but also being quite edgy at times. The Titan S2 mitigates that by being very smooth all throughout, while keeping good details and technicalities. Then lastly, let's compare to its bigger brother, the Falcon Ultra. The Ultra is still the better set overall. The two have very similar tuning philosophies, with a warm U-shaped sound signature with good timbre and good vocal energy, but the Falcon Ultra does it in a considerably more refined, more clean, and technical way. But you can't deny the value of the Titan S2, as anyone who just wants a solid budget IEM with good accessories would probably still opt for the Titan S2. If you want the next step for the Titan S2, then the Falcon Ultra is definitely the way to go. And to finally conclude it, the Titan S2 might not be the perfect sequel. It might not be the Titan S counterpart or upgrade that people were really looking forward to, but it is definitely a very welcome experience, as it's very well accessorized, very well tuned, and is something that I could easily recommend to people. Honestly, if you're new to the hobby, this is arguably the best IEM in terms of value that you can get right now. Dodge all of those budget sets that have also good value, because this is the one that has good value and good tonality. And I really can't deny that Dunu has made something very, very interesting with the Titan S2, because this is not something that I would just, say lightly that I would recommend to most beginners, because there's so many things to love about the Titan S2. It's not the most, special or the most magical IEM, like I said, but it's a very safe, very well accessorized, and amazing value IEM that just honestly blows my mind they were able to do at this price range. And that's arguably the selling point of the Titan S2. It's not necessarily trying to break any boundaries or trying to be innovative or set anything new. It's just trying to be a good product. And a good product was the Titan S2. Thank you so much for watching my review of the Titan S2. If you like this video, consider giving me a like. If you want to see more of my content, consider subscribing. Check out my socials down below. Comment down, what do you think about the Titan S2? Are you going to buy it? Are you not going to buy it? What do you think of the accessories? Do you think it's too much? Do you think you need more? You greedy person. I'm kidding. But thank you so much for watching. Socials down below. Check out the Discord. Check out Audio Notions. Check out Forsaken Audio Files. And with that, obodio out.